Bienvenue, konnichiwa, and welcome to CLMB's Cracked Knuckle Productions. Je m'appelle Chris, et kore wa Project Weyard. Before I begin, I want to thank all of you for the continued support you've shown for this project over these past few months. I am beside myself thinking how over 100 of you fine individuals have subscribed and continue to watch this project unfold. And honestly, as always, thank you. With that said, let me tell you of a couple of the things that I've been working on. First off, I'm finally removing these red marks that were added in my landmasses video. Again, I added these markers because the source map that I'm using for this project included labels for all the places of interest, and the ones that are by the ocean made it impossible for me to accurately portray the coastlines. To fix this issue, I went to the source and played The Lost Age. It'd be a lie to say that I haven't enjoyed doing this project. Along with addressing these areas, I've realized that there are a number of rivers and mountain ranges that I had somehow overlooked, especially up north. Now, with most of these small issues addressed, I finally made my first attempt to address the coastlines. Players of The Lost Age know that much of the coast has limited access points which players can embark and disembark from, and I wanted to include these features for this map for two reasons. First, if you are wanting to use this map for your gameplay, you'll want to be knowing where you can anchor your ship. Second, because I'm making a topographical map, these cliffs indicate that much of the coast is high above the sea level, which means that I'm needing to keep track of this so I can assign everything to the right color. I'll explain this a bit more later, but hopefully you'll see this method in action in my next video. As I mentioned, this is my first attempt to create these cliffs, and let's just say it didn't go as I intended, and that's my fault. With Affinity Designer, there's a really cool tool called Contour Tool. It's really powerful and has some amazing applications, which can save the end user a lot of time, if used correctly. Alas, it didn't work too well for this task, perhaps because of the varied nature of the coasts, though I think the sheer size of this image is more problematic. As a result, I made a mess of everything with the Contour tool. So, I decided to take a step away from it and think of an alternative way to do the cliffs. In the meantime, I decided to add temporary place markers for the in-game locations that I hope to replace with custom icons. While I'm on the subject of these icons, I haven't done all too many yet, but I'm thinking about starting over so that I can make each location I end up making to be vector-based instead of raster-based. I think it will better match the rest of the map's aesthetics. Moving on and getting back to the map's aesthetics, I decided to work on laying the groundwork for my topographical layers. This can be somewhat involved, but let me explain to you what I've done and am planning on. Because a large percentage of the landmass's coasts are actually cliffs, I've decided to fill this whole map with a light green color that corresponds to the map's fourth level of elevation, or in other words, not depicting sea level, as you can see in this screenshot. That's because there are a number of places in the game that I'll be depicting as below sea level, like the areas just east of Contigo and the Taupo swamps. And in some places like this, I found these layers are easier to place above the sea level layer, just like the higher elevations in the layers menu. It's somewhat counterintuitive, but it means that I don't have to erase any of the sea level fill just to add the lower levels on top. I digress. Once again, let's return to the issue of the cliffs that I had put on the back burner a few minutes back. At the 3 minute and 10 second mark, you will see my Cliffs 2.0 moment. Instead of using the contour tool, I copied my master blank landmass layer, created a thin brown outline, removed the fill, selected break curve, and erased all the sections that made up the beach areas and left the cliffs, which you can see. I'll have to design something to show the presence of waterfalls, and I need to figure out how I want to indicate rivers that are inaccessible to your ship. like those found on the Oproji Islands and Aqua Rock. But that's for another day. Alright, that about wraps things up for now. Till next time, happy world building, and as always, blessings.